Help me ducks, it's Simon here. Welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. I hope everybody is having a great week so far. It's the first time I've been on all week, I believe. I think the last time I was on was at the weekend. I've just got home from work. I've had a lovely package that I collected today, which I've been really excited about this deck. It's still not available yet in the UK because US Games obviously release things in the US first and they don't ship to the UK. So we have to wait for either Amazon or like Oneness Emporium to stock it. But this was sent as a gift from the lovely Susan from Crow Quill Tarot. And she did a fascinating video about this deck. And I'd seen it on other channels a few weeks prior to it, and I got very obsessed with it, which I tend to do. If there's a deck that really piques my interest, I tend to go and find every walkthrough of it, and you know, really kind of absorb it and think if it's something that I'm going to get, will I like it? That kind of happens a lot. Or I'll see a video and I'll just see a card and I think, yes, that deck is definitely one I could bring into my collection, and then I'll stop watching because I want the element of surprise. But this fell into the category where I wanted to know more and more about it because the concept really fascinated me. Now, it's based on RWS, but what Steve Erenberg has done with this deck is he has focused, he's zoomed right in, and he's focused on key elements of the RWS deck. And I think it was actually Susan who said, and it really resonated with me, that it's not so much now us looking in at the cards, it's them looking out. And I really like that sort of take. That it kind of reminds me of like the Morgan Greer, you know, where we've got those zoomed in RWS images, or a little bit, particularly the fonts that's used reminds me a little bit of the Aquarian Tarot. It's got very retro font. I'm really excited to have a look at it. Now, because this deck has been, and what I will say is Susan's video that I've just mentioned, I'll link that below so you can have a look. Do check out. I'm really pleased that Susan's back. I started watching her channel, gosh, 5-6 years ago, and loved it. And then she's had a bit of a break, but she's come back, and I'm really pleased. When I saw that she'd posted a video again after quite some time, I was like, fantastic. Because she's very knowledgeable. She's got a lovely personality that really transcends the lens, and it's like sitting with a friend. So do check out Crow Quill Tarot, or as she says it, Crow Quill Tarot. And I love it when content creators call the tarot tarot. It just sounds more poetic. Yeah, so I forgot where I was going with that now. Yes, because this has been out a while, at least I think 2 months in the US. There's lots of walkthroughs, but what I wasn't able to find, and I've not looked for about a week since I knew this deck was coming, kind of like a side-by-side or comparison with the original RWS. So I thought it might be interesting to look at what Steve Erenberg has done with the artwork, where he's kind of focused in on the original cards, and have a look at it that way. But firstly, I just want to read the back. So it said, Erenberg Tarot offers unique perspectives on the iconic Rider-Waite Tarot. Kind of wish they'd put Smith in there. From which it takes its inspiration. Well, the inspiration is being taken from Pamela Colman Smith's artwork. So, in contrast to traditional tarot scenes that prompt the viewer to look inward, the subjects in these cards are looking out at the readers. Maybe that's where I saw that then. Invite them to join this journey to discover the fascinating stories and mystical tales within the deck. The artwork also focuses on key aspects of the cards and illuminates vital elements and concepts, allowing the reader to delve deeper into the inner meanings. It includes the 78 cards and 76-page illustrated guidebook with keywords for upright and reversed positions. It's published by US Games, as I mentioned. It says 2023. Well, we're well into the third month now of the year, so maybe it came out even earlier than I thought. I believe it's released on the 1st of April in the UK, and Cheryl at Oneness Emporium will be stocking this deck because I've already seen it on her shop. So a little book, black and white book. I mean, it's not a vast amount of information, but you do get your card description, so like a divinatory meaning. You get keywords as well for upright and reverse. So not an awful amount of information, but enough. I don't believe the book is by, so the guidebook is by Karen Boginski. Karen Boginski. So she's offered us this little white book. I'm imagining that the cardstock, I love the backs. The cardstock will be really nice because it's US Games, and US Games has one of my favourite cardstocks. Really sturdy, nice two-part box. I like the design here. So the cards, the box is easy to slide apart. Beautiful colour on the inside. So everything so far is really nice. Really like this back design. Now, at one time, I think I would have said, you know, oh, I wish it was borderless. But actually, I'm really appreciating borders more and more. Yeah, they're really nice. US Games cardstock, really good. Nice and flexy, sturdy. It's got this nice silky finish. They are matte. But yeah, the colours, I really like this colour palette. And I like the design here. For the backs, it's really quite a classic, and this is what I was talking about the font, how it's you know, kind of using a retro type font, similar to one of the fonts that's used in the Aquarian Tarot, I believe. All right, let's reposition the camera, let's bring it down, and let's have a look at the cards. Okay, so hopefully that's nice and clear, and the lighting's right. So as you can see, we're starting with our full card. I think particularly the first few of the major arcana cards focuses on the eyes, and I quite like that. I like the fact that the back design is also replicated on the back. I'm not sure if that's all the way through. I don't remember or recall that. The cards do have a little border. Well, kind of like a border within a border, but the red and the green here matches the, you know, the fool's hat. I don't mind these borders. They're not obtrusive. As you can see on this one, it's thicker than here. I like the fact that US Games are no longer putting their copyright on the front. Don't know if they're doing that on the back now, or it might be removed completely or somewhere in with the design, but it's certainly not annoyingly glaring on the front. So the Fool, and we've got this close-up of the eyes, and we have almost like the court jesters type Fool hat with the little bell here. Love the Magician. More of a magician, kind of like a performing magician. I mean, this is a performing magician here. It's got this outdoor table, like a street scene, and is, you know, manifesting. Here we've got the magician with this hat that we often see, like a wizard's hat, and he's holding this staff. And I love the fact that, you know, it's replicating here the short wand with the glow, you know, kind of reminding us of the as above aspect. Beautiful High Priestess. I love her. I love the pomegranate design in the background. We see the pomegranate here, which is almost looks part of the headwear that she's wearing. We've got a crescent moon here. As you see, she's famous for her crescent moon there. These almost, for me, even though they're not black and white, represent like the pillars that we see here. And yeah, so the first few are kind of the eyes at the lower part, and then we move here to our Empress, which is really beautiful. But again, look for the symbols. So, you know, we've got on this shield here, and it's incorporated here on the necklace design. We've got a pomegranate, which we see in the design on the dress. The wheat, it's all there, but it just gets you to focus in more. Here's our Emperor, and what we're getting here is this side almost, and a little bit of the beard, but this side of the RWS image. So we've got the bull here, which is an ornate part of the throne that he's sitting on. He's got his orb, which is in the palm of his hand. We've got his staff here that we see there, which is like in the Ankh. And you can almost see in the background as well, the rest of the, just peeping through there, the rest of the throne that he's sitting on. Love this Hierophant. Really, really love the Hierophant. So we get half of a face. We've got this ornate kind of, I don't know what they call that. It's not a hat, but you know, that sort of headwear that priests often wear. And we've got the hand symbol here. I like the intensity of the eyes. We don't have the supplicants. Do we have the cross keys anywhere? No, we've got some of the pillar in the background here. The lovers. So we do have one of the trees. We have the apple tree here, the tree of knowledge. It looks like, yeah, we've got the serpent wrapping around the tree here, which we see over in this side on the card. But it's really nice that we've just got these interlocked hands. And, you know, we see many tarot decks produced these days where they're trying to cater for life in modern Britain, life in modern US, wherever, but today's society. And sometimes you'll get creators who create 2 or 3 lovers cards for representing different relationships and couples. But here we just have 2 hands, and it's really simple. You know, it can be anybody's hands, can't it? I really love this font. So we have the number at the bottom rather than at the top. Here's our chariot. Look how cool that is. I really love this. I like the fact that we've got the sphinxes here, but one seems, they look like stone, you know, and that's the thing that always gets me about the chariot card. It looks very static. Yet we see depictions in modern tarot decks now where the chariot is showing very swift and lots of motion. But this original RWS design, it's quite static. We don't see wheels, we don't see motion, we see this huge plinth. And that kind of plays out here with the sphinxes. But look at the difference in there, the very opposite. Not only the different colour of the headdress, but in terms of the intensity, and one looks very passive and one looks quite angry and stern. And of course, again, we've got the design mapping across. Here's the strength card. I think this is a beautiful depiction of the strength card. The lion is represented on this sort of pendant, almost like a coin that she's wearing around her neck. Love the bodice here that's been laced up. The hair just coming down on one side. Yeah, it's lovely. The Hermit focuses on the lantern, as we see here. And this light shining out. It looks very dark. We've got like a mountain range in the background, which again plays on the scenery, because you can see here he's stood on a high peak and he's looking out with his lantern, and you see the mountain range in the background. So here we've got the mountain there, we've got his light, he's holding his light out, it's shining forth, and it's lovely. Our Wheel of Fortune, this has very sort of even though we've got the same letters and the symbols, this has a very sort of fairground type scene. We've got the candy stripes behind, we've got this straw hat. Yeah, and it just seems like more of a game of chance as a Wheel of Fortune. Justice. I mean, look at this image. So we've got, rather than the sword and the scales, we've got blind justice here. So it's blindfolded, and she's got her, oh, the words just gone out of my head. You know, I forget what it's called. I have to find this out. A gavel. That's when Alexa comes into her own. She helps you out when you get stuck sometimes. And it was a word that was right there on the tip of my tongue, but the more I think about it, it's not going to come. So yeah, there with her gavel. But I just love her, the hand. You know, she's really contemplating before that's struck here, and she's really absorbing whatever information she's been given. And yeah, it's not an easy decision. I love the perspective here for the Hanged Man. We're just focusing on the feet. We see that here, but we've always kind of been used to seeing this like the letter 4 if we had it the other way around. But the leg crossed behind the other leg's knee. Here we've just got the 2 ankles, which is bound by the rope that's suspending the person that's being hung here by the ankles. I really love the art style as well. It looks like it's coloured pencil, but really subtle. It's got a vintage feel to it. Really beautiful. Death. I've said many times, yeah, skeletons, you know, or skulls more. Don't mind skeletons, but you know, a skull sometimes is, when I see that in a death card, I'm kind of like, meh. I like this. I like it. You see many skulls representing the fallen people here that have succumbed to death. But yeah, we've got this this skull and this skeletal hand here coming out of the card, almost like it's, you know, trying to grab. Temperance is gorgeous. I love the feathered wing in the background here from the angel. We're focusing on the 2 vessels, you know, that sort of pouring backwards and forwards of the water. But I just love that this has the backdrop of one of the wings. It's really beautiful. The Devil goes back to like earlier cards of the Fool, etc., the Magician and the High Priestess, where we've got this devil here. You can see both wings behind, the horns here, yeah, and just this kind of red, fiery, hellish devil. Interestingly, the tower hasn't zoomed in on any particular part. They could have done that quite easily by just focusing in on perhaps a window with flames coming out of it and perhaps some lightning coming down one side, but they've gone more traditional here, and it's the tower like we see here on top of a mountain. We've got 3 people falling. They're more in perspective than what we're used to seeing, but yeah, it's a nice card. The star, so the luminaries I think are close-ups of, yeah, each, and don't really replicate any sort of RWS elements other than obviously a star, but this is a 5-pointed star with a face. The moon here, I like that. We've got a little rocket here. We've got the stars in the background. We see part of the face in the moon card, and again with the sun. We've got the beautiful flowers. They're not sunflowers, but we've got these beautiful flowers and this radiant sun, and a very sort of enigmatic look to the face on the sun card. This is one of my favorite cards. I think this is really, really powerful image. We have got the angel, the trumpeting angel, calling the dead out from their graves, and then we've just got this hand coming out of this coffin, out of this casket, and it's gripping onto the sides as if to, you know, pull themselves up. And then we've got this ornate handle here on the side of the casket with a skull and crossbones representing their death. But I just love this. I love this trumpet coming in and this hand, this gnarly hand grabbing at the sides to come out from the casket. I think it's brilliant. The world, interesting. We've focused on feet. We've got like these ballet slippers. You can see the laurel wreath here that we get going around the card in the RWS. We've got symbols rather than represented by animals. Love it though. It's like the dance of life, you know, and it's come full circle. Yeah, it's brilliant. Okay, so now I've noticed I'm not in order, so I'm going to pause now that we've finished the majors. I'm going to pause and make sure these are in order. Okay, they're now in order. So we're starting with our cups. I've just gone in the order that the Erenberg has come in. It's not necessarily my order because it goes to Pentacles next, but I just wanted to make sure they aligned. So here we do have the main cup, the chalice here. We've got the water flowing down like we see in this image. And then we've got this focus here on the beautiful lotus flower, which you see very tiny versions of on the water here, these lilies, and yeah, just beautiful. Love the two. I love that the cups are different, actually, very different between the two cups. We do have one here on the right hand side, which is more in keeping with what's in the RWS image. I love the lion, the close-up of the lion here, which we see, the winged lion here. Yeah, I think it's wonderful. Now at the bottom here, rather than 2 of cups, we get the word 2 and then the symbol for cups. The 3, the celebrations, the 3 maidens. We've got the harvest all around them here. Here we have the growth of the flowers behind, and we have one hand holding a cup, and you imagine the other 2 being held by 2 others. Love this perspective, because again we've zoomed right in, but what we're seeing is that sort of disinterest, if you like, or that sort of apathy and not really you know, paying attention or focusing on what's in front. It's represented here by the folded arms, and then this cup being offered here. It's clever how they've represented the 5. We don't actually see 5 cups here, but what we do see is that one is damaged. It's got this crack down it here. It looks like hands trying to catch them. And then we see others as well that aren't damaged or been ruined in any way. This is beautiful. The card that's often described as the card of nostalgia, reconnecting with our past, particularly our childhoods. I like the way this is represented, because we do have these buildings in the background, which is like the homestead, but she's taking time out to smell the fragrance of the flowers. And I think smell is one of those senses that just transports you back to a certain place and time. Certain smells can just really reignite not just a memory but feelings, and it's very very powerful. Like this version of the 7, again, how would you kind of focus in without losing something? So we've got one cup here, but the multiple different choices that we see in the 7 cups there, all together here. Fantastic. I mean, look at this. What an image. Isn't that brilliant? So in the foreground, we get a cup, and then we see this person walking off across the terrain. We've got all these trees here. These looks like fir trees. We've got the mountain range in the distance. He's got a journey. He's holding his staff. It's clever. The John Travolta card, the 9. Again, I like the fact, because whenever I think of this, an old church, can you believe, primary school song comes into my head, that's Count Your Blessings. And here we've got somebody who's obviously quite affluent. He's got this big sapphire ring. It's like it's got rubies around it. You've got a diamond ring here. You've got this gorgeous emerald. It looks like pearls. You know, obviously somebody who has plenty. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. We get the sense of a family unit here. We've got the homestead in the distance here, like in the original card. The beautiful rainbow. We don't have a rare cups. This isn't a pippish deck in any sense, you know, it's very scenic. And we've got the infant here just gripping one of the parents' thumbs. And you get that sense of a togetherness, a family unit. It's beautifully illustrated. Our Page of Cups. Really like that. The fish that we see coming out of the cup is actually the cup. It's really clever. Our Knight. We get a sense here. We've got like a horse's mane. You can see that someone is wearing armory. We've got fish representing the water element here on the cup. Yeah, it's fab. Looks like it's at the side of a horse, so you can tell they're on a horseback, and the mane is coming down here, and they're holding on. This could potentially be a rein, I suppose, but holding that cup to the side as well. Our Queen, how beautiful. Look at how ornate the cup is here. Yeah, I mean, this almost reminds me of, oh, what was that? Can't think what it's called. Ark of the Covenant. It almost reminds me of that, with the two guardian kind of angels there either side. And here we've got these kind of mermaids either side of this cup. And look at them together. our king with his jewel encrusted cup. And then we have our Ace of Pentacles, which is quite similar to the original, with the hand holding the pentacle here. We've got this beautiful meadow with flowers, and in the distance, like we see through this arch here, we've got a mountain range. But just look at the art style, isn't it gorgeous? It's really beautiful. The 2 is about balance all the way through there, and we're getting that here. He's balancing a coin on his nose. There's another coin or pentacle balancing on top of that one, and he's looking up, he's keeping his attention on them. The 2 here, we can see this intricate design. We can see his tools here. Interesting take for the 4. And what we've got here is this kind of shackle and this heavy weighted ball that's, you know, keeping him prisoner, keeping him trapped. And I think, you know, what we're picking up from that is, you know, how we can be enslaved by money, power, greed, etc. I'm not done this yet. I want to see what sort of information we get in the book. So I'm going to go to the book for this one, and we'll have a look at what is said for the 4 of Pentacles, which is there. So this card is a strong reminder that there is more to life than just material things, even if they are gilded and beautiful. It is useful to be aware of your personal finances, but being overly concerned and obsessed with them can confine you, limiting your ability to fully participate in and enjoy your life. So, cleverly done. The 5. Now, this is, those who've watched me for any amount of time will know how important the 5 of Pentacles is for me on a personal level. I had a real connection with this card. So I always look out for how this is being depicted, and I think this has been done so well. We're focusing here on the limitations. So, you know, there's clearly a disability here with, you know, this person has a wooden leg. They've been through the wars, the clothes is torn, there's bandages here, they're holding a walking implement, they're walking through the snow like they are here at the church, rather than having this focus on the window. You can see that this is a building again where there's light coming from within, and this person is on the outside, but it's a clever depiction. For the 6, we have the open hands of somebody receiving, and the coins that are, you know, being thrown down like we see here. That's what we're seeing here, these coins coming into the hands of the person that's receiving someone's assistance. Again, for this, we're focusing on that rest from this toil, the hand resting on the hoe here. Yeah, it's lovely. I love that the garments that are being worn are of a different era. You know, we see like the bodices and the tops that are kind of drawstrings, etc. This focuses on the finer detail, the work that's happening here, the little hammer and chisel working away on this coin. I love the oil lamp to show that, you know, this is a labour of love that's taken many hours and perhaps into the night. This is interesting as well. I like this. So we've got the hooded bird here that we see in our traditional 9, and the bird is sitting on the hand here. As we see, it's a gloved hand, and we can see the beautiful grapes around us that we see here, look, and the homestead in the distance. I love this. I'm really enjoying this deck, and I can see me getting a lot of use out of this. Here's our 10. So we're focusing in on the older character here, petting his dog, and here we've got the dog and the beard of the older man. And then we've got this archway that we see here, and the township through that archway. Our page, very young page, holding his coin like he is here. The knight looks like he's not only going to battle, but he's going to do some work in the field. But again, I think this is a play on, you know, these rows of vegetation that's planted here. You can see that it's kind of focusing more on that. I love this. Look at our Queen of Pentacles. Look at the little bunny rabbit. So that's taken from, and it's quite hard to pick out in the original deck. It took me a while to spot that there was a rabbit there when I first started working with the RWS some nearly 20 years ago. But yeah, so we've got the eyes again, we've got a beautiful ornate crown, we've got lots of vegetation and fruits, which is, you know, connecting us to the earth. This is the earth suit, things that are grown in the earth. And we've got these lovely compassionate eyes, but the focus here on the bunny, which is great for this time of year. Our king, yeah, this, you know, king is a king of wealth. Earth suit as well, Pentacles, is also about finances and our kind of earthly existence, but it's piling up here and it's blocking his vision. There's just one eye that he can see beyond. The Ace of Swords is gorgeous. I like the aces. We've got this very sort of ethereal hand here. You can see through it to, you can actually see the full sword. I love how ornate this sword is. It's beautiful. And the mountains again in the background. Very focused in on the crossed swords in front of the face. It's different to how it's being crossed here. In the RWS, she's crossing her arms and holding the swords outwards, whereas this is crossing the swords rather than the arms in front of the face. Also not blindfolded. This is very cleverly done. So we get the sense of heartbreak and hurt. The heart here is a hat pin, as you can see. It's going through this this rim of the hat, holding this ribbon in place. We've got the tear here to represent the heartbreak of the card. And I think it's lovely. The 4, we can see the person resting, the eyes are closed, they're wearing their armour. The 5, how interesting. So this person is being grabbed by the wrist. That's really interesting take, isn't it? The 6, I love the 6. You don't see that they're in a boat from this image because of how we've zoomed in and focused on the woman and child here in the boat. We get a sense that they're in a boat because behind them is water. I love how the moon is reflecting on the water as well. She looks quite sad. Well, both look actually quite sad. But, you know, they're on a journey. They're moving towards something else. 7, interesting that this is the mask, you know, the deceit. That's quite a scary looking mask as well, isn't it? The 8, the being bound here is by this red string around the wrist, tied in a bow. Her own hands are covering her eyes. That's the only thing that will obscure her vision. It would be quite easy to get out of this position, which I think is an important part of the 8 of Swords. And then here we have somebody who's obviously, it's nighttime. It's almost like a dream scene here. These clouds come in front of the forehead here. The hand is cupping over one eye. But it gives you that sense of that foggy brain, that sort of overwhelm and cloudiness where you just can't see clearly or think clearly. This is clever. I like this. We've got this umbrella and it's raining swords here, and they're piercing through the umbrella rather than through a human body. And we've got the storm clouds above. Our page. I love the little star on the cheek there. The knight. Queen. And king. And here's our Ace of Wands. I like how the aces actually are a really good interpretation. There's the likeness there, and here we get this kind of not transparent, but it's this otherworldly, you know, this hand coming out of the sky, out of the through the clouds, whatever it is. It often reminds me of the old National Lottery adverts we used to have, where these hands would just appear from the sky and say, it could be you. Here we get this, as I said, this ethereal, spirit-like hand. Wow, love this. So we're getting the globe here. It's a very ornate one. Like we see the person here holding the world in their hand. She's really focusing on where she wants to go. She's looking at that globe and really planning. The 3 is interesting. He's looking out, but we get that sense here from the telescope, overlooking the land, the terrain ahead. This one is interesting. So again, a bit like our Lovers card, where we see the 2 hands joining together. This is more of a handshake, isn't it? Now this card is always about, for me, about that sort of ceremony and celebration. And here we've got like little bits of confetti, almost like someone's let off a party popper or something. And there's this this union of some sort, this handshake, this agreement, which again could represent, you know, some sort of ceremony or commitment to something. The 5, I like this. They're just kind of squaring up. We see the battle happening here in the RWS, but this is focusing on 2 people. It reminds me a little bit of Arnatorian's 5. I probably won't be able to find it now, where they're rutting. Let me see if I can find it. It's going to be right near the bottom. Usually is when you want to find a card quickly. Here we go. So the Five of Wands here, do you see how they're squaring up and rutting? It kind of reminds me, it's very similar to that for the Five of Wands here. Okay. The Six, we get a sense of this person on the high horse with the, it's a white horse. They're looking, I'm imagining they're stood next to the horse and looking over it, because I'm not quite sure how they could get themselves in that position. We've got the staff here with the laurel. Yeah. Love this. This is really clever. So we're focusing on the feet, and it wasn't until Jem Phoenix did her tarot play date a couple of years ago now, and we was looking at the Seven of Wands, and we noticed that the footwear is different on the feet, and it really brings that in here. I don't know if they've mentioned it in the book, and we had to look at the essential guide to find out why that was. Where is Wands? So we're at Seven of Wands. See if it says here. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong place. I'm like, what mask? Where's Wands? I've just seen it. Here we go. Seven of Wands. The appearance of this card signals a challenge to your progress. It is also a call to stand your ground even when it feels exhausting. Yeah, so it hasn't really given an explanation other than it's replicating what's happening in the original artwork by Pixie. I like this. So we see this swift action, we see these wands flying through the sky, but here it's showing that actually to get that kind of that motion, it's got to be propelled in some way, hasn't it? Somebody quite battle worn here. We've got the bandage going across the head. Got somebody pushing a boulder here, which is illustrating that sort of heavy burden, that heavy load that sometimes we have to bear. This always reminds me of an old story again that I was told many years ago when I was very young, about somebody who was told to go out every day and try and move a rock. And it was a huge rock, and he used to push against it every single day. And then after so many years, he went back and said, look, I'm not doing it anymore. I can't move that rock. It's totally pointless. And the person who instructed him to do it said, it's not purpose. Look at how strong you are now. Look at your muscles. Look how fit you are, because you've gone out every day and tried to move that rock. He was never going to move the rock, but it's made you the person you are. The page here. I love it. The night. Look at that. It's what a brilliant image. We only see a little bit of the night here, and it's more about the horse rearing up to get that sense here, because we see it, you know, just two legs on the ground, the other two are, you know, rising up, and we're getting that sense here from the horse itself. Again, like our bunny, we're focusing in on the black cat, which I think is brilliant. And the king. And it's interesting that the salamander that we see in the king card really plays a part more here with our page. So there you have it. That's the Erenberg Tarot by US Games. The creator is Stephen Erenberg. The guidebook is by Karen Berginski. Hope I'm saying that right. And as I said, this was a lovely, kind, generous gift from the lovely Susan over at Crow Quill Tarot. And do check out her review as well, because it was really enjoyable. Thank you for watching, everybody, and until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.